Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Please sit. This is such an honor to be here, I have to tell you. My first trip to the White House. It's just wonderful. I am Betty Marafino, president of the Connecticut Alliance for Retired Americans, retired professor of English at Tunxus Community College in Connecticut, and chair of the National Repeal WEP and GPO Task Force. Thank you. And quite a few of our task force members are here today. When I was growing up, my widowed maternal grandmother, who had 6 children, was so grateful that my grandfather's Social Security benefits would keep her out of the poorhouse, and there was a poorhouse that was a couple of blocks from her house. As a teenager, I often accompanied my grandmother on Saturdays when she brought her homemade bread to the poorhouse. I think the vision of the people who were there in that poorhouse motivated me and others on the task force as well. We often talked about it. To help correct the injustice that my fellow public service workers who keep our communities running have had to endure, and we've kept that in our mind. Our task force began in May 2020 with a small group of Alliance activists and grew to include firefighters, police, postal workers, first responders, teachers, and many of the others in the unions and organizations that they represented in this room today. And thank you for that. We worked to secure a repeal petition of over 110,000 signatures, and we included activists from Maine to Alaska. We focused on the repeal of provisions that have been an injustice to many public servants over the last 40 years. Our DC rallies, we had 2 of them, our summit, our webinars, and traversing the halls of Congress led us to a resounding bipartisan victory in both houses. With the leadership of members of Congress here today and the President's signature, almost 2.5 million Americans will now receive their rightfully earned Social Security benefits. I want to thank them all, and on behalf of the task force, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for that. And especially the person I am honored to introduce today. Now it is my immense gratitude that I introduce the president who has done more for American seniors really than any other president. And thank you so much, Mr. President Joe Biden. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Betty. Thank you. I know in about 20 years I'll become a senior. It's hell turning 40, you know. God bless you all. Betty, thanks for that introduction, for all the work you've done for retired Americans. It makes a gigantic difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, if you excuse what they say, the Senate used to say in the Senate, a point of personal privilege. She gave me a handwritten poem from her husband, who wrote to me, saying, I look like I'm 20. So thank him very well. I'll give him a call. Thank you. And thank you to the current and former members of Congress for being here today, particularly Susan Collins. Susan, I hope it doesn't hurt your reputation, might compliment you. Sherrod Brown. Get up. And Abigail Spanberger. Where's Abigail? Get up, Abigail. I also want to thank Leader Schumer and Representative Garrett Graves. Schumer's not here, is he? All right. And Garrett couldn't make it today either. For all of you who have kept this bipartisan bill on track from the beginning to end. And so did our great labor leaders here today. I want to thank them. You know, my dad taught me, and I mean this, my friends are tired of hearing me saying this, a job is a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and know there's a real prospect that that's going to happen. The bill I'm signing today is about a simple proposition. Americans who have worked hard all their lives to earn an honest living should be able to retire with economic security and dignity. That's the entire purpose of the Social Security system crafted by Franklin Delano Roosevelt nearly 90 years ago. Social Security is the bedrock of financial security for retirees and survivors, and for millions of Americans with disabilities. But we've all heard the stories like the one that Betty shared today. Public sector employees, teachers, nurses, maintenance workers, and more. Many working second jobs beyond their public service, often just because they needed to make ends meet. The law that existed denied millions of Americans access to the full Social Security benefits they earn by thousands of dollars a year. That denial of benefits also applied to surviving spouses of public service employees. Benefits cut that cost them security and a little bit of dignity as well. Joining us today, Alicia, a 17-year-old from Texas. Where's Alicia? Come here. Alicia is just around the corner receiving Social Security. This guy walked 1,600 miles from from Texas to Washington, D.C. to support this bill. And he did it. He did it for his grandmother, a retired teacher who struggled to survive without the Social Security benefits she earned. And he thought it wasn't right. But guess what? Tomorrow is his birthday. We have a tradition in our household. Got to sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right. Alicia, I and others here have one request.
Yes.
When you're president and they say Joe Biden's in the outer office, promise you won't say Joe who. Right? Thank you, pal. You're doing good. Your mom, grandmama was proud. Thank you. Go ahead. Look, by signing this bill, we're extending Social Security benefits for millions of teachers, nurses, and other public employees and their spouses and survivors. That means an estimated average of $360 per month increase. That's a big deal in middle-class households like the one I grew up in, many of you did, and for millions of Americans going forward. That's not all. over 2.5 million Americans are going to receive a lump sum payment of thousands of dollars to make up for the shortfall in the benefits they should have gotten in 2024. It's going to be a big deal. They're going to begin receiving these payments this year, and this is a big deal. Someone said this is a big deal. It's a big deal. As the first president in more than 20 years to expand Social Security benefits, this victory is a culmination of a four-year fight to provide security for workers who dedicate their lives to their communities. And I'm proud to have played a small part in this fight and get to sign it. And thanks to Sherrod Brown and Richie Neal. Richie. And other advocates in this room, one of the first things we did was to protect pensions for as many as 2 million union workers and retirees when we signed the Butch-Lewis Act. It's the most significant action to protect union pensions in 50 years. The Butch-Lewis Act helped them retire with dignity. Look, just like Social Security Fairness Act. What I'm about to sign, what I'm signing today, when I came to office, I promised I'd always protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Never thought anybody'd have to make that promise to protect it, but we had to make that promise. We still do. I said repeatedly that if anyone tried to cut these programs, I'd stop them. And that's the promise we've kept. Even in the face of proposals to cut and weaken these programs that millions of Americans count on, I know there's a lot more work to do, by the way, to improve and expand benefits, including those who most are in need, to protect Social Security for long term, and finally asking the wealthiest Americans to begin to pay their fair share so it's able to be maintained, and so much more. Folks, we could not have done this alone. To the people in this room and the people around the country who did the work, who kept the faith, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our economy today is the strongest economy in the world. We got more to do, but it's the strongest economy in the world because we have the best workers in the world. We have the best workers. We do. And I might add, parenthetically, when I went to South Korea to get the communications, to get Samsung to send back the chip makers to the United States. We invented the damn things. We used to have 40% of the market. And he said yes, and I finally said, why? I said, God's truth. Foreign leader of a major corporation said, because you have the best, most qualified workers in the world, union workers. No, I'm serious. And because it's the safest place in the world to invest. Look, let me close with this. Today's a victory for the dignity of work and the dignity of workers. Everyday people who build the middle class, who built this country, we must never forget it. We can't forget who did it. We just remember who we are. For God's sake, we're the United States of America. The United States, there's nothing beyond our capacity. We set our mind to it, and we do it together. So God bless you all. May God protect our troops. And now let's sign this bill. Didn't hurt you, did I say this?
For this, Butch-Lewis and so much else. Thank you.
All right, we got spots up here. Come on.
This is so exciting.
Thank you.
Big up in the
Everybody knows I like her so much. I heard her reputation. Okay. You ready? Get set, go. All right. All right. I know it's going to be a long time for any of you to collect Social Security like me, but let's get going. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. It's a good day.
On behalf of NEA,
Thank you. You've been a great support. All right.